Boogie bags.
Good morning. Welcome to another episode of SJU. It's Thursday.
Yay.
That's a day of the week. I have with me my wonderful panel here. We've got Dan Murrell, Joe Starr, Spencer Gilbert. I am Danielle Radford. Hello. How are you? We've got some great things we're going to talk about today. We're going to get into some trailers. We've got the new Terminator Dark Fate trailer, which I'm sure you've already seen. We're going to talk a little bit about some of our favorite action movies, along with some John Wick 3. We're going to talk about the Anna trailer. Very exciting. So we all got a chance to watch the new Terminator trailer, correct? Mm-hmm. Great. Any first thoughts?
Why keep doing the thing where they're like, it's good, and then I'm like, oh, maybe it's good, and I know it's just good. They're going to pull the football away, and I'm going to fall on my back, I'm going to throw my back out hitting the ground from the football, but everything but the weird plane-on-plane action. I was super in, and I go on record as saying I hate nanotech in movies. I think it always looks dumb, and I was still really in, but I just know. No,
it's great. Look at him. He's a 3D printer. It's amazing.
The original 3D printer is the T1000. Why do they always choose actors with big ears? I feel like we pointed that out in Terminator 2.
That's where the microchips are.
Oh, okay. Because they can choose any human form, and they always go with someone with some satellite dishes on the side.
That's where the processors are.
But it does look really cool. Balance or echoing Joe, it's like, yeah, man, they got me again, but. Man, I don't know. You know, you look through the credits, and it's like David Goyer's writing it, and it's he to me is the Targaryen of screenwriters. It's like every time he writes a screenplay, someone flips a coin, and he'll either be like, "Oh, that's pretty cool," or "Oh no, that you ruined the thing I liked." So
David Goyerian.
Yeah, Goyerian. David Goyerian. So, and then, you know, like James Cameron did another featurette, just like he did with Genesis, being like, no, guys, seriously, if this one's good. But he did that the last time, where he said that, you know, this really recaptures the glory of the original, and then in this latest featurette, he just says Terminator 2 about 15 times.
Cannot be trusted.
I guess not, but
he told us that Terminator Genesis was great. Let us not forget, James Cameron looked in my digital face and told me how great Terminator Genesis was going to be.
He lied right to your face. How do you feel about that, Dave?
Daenerys Targaryen, as this, I agree, is...
But damn it, like...
But listen, here's what happened. Terminator Salvation trailer came out, looked cool, not a good movie. Terminator Genesis trailer came out, looked cool, not a good movie. I will not be fooled again.
I want to believe.
I want to believe too, but this franchise has burned me too many times. I love Linda Hamilton. I want to see Linda Hamilton back. I want to see the kick-ass there. I want to see all those things. But this trailer this franchise has taught me to stop looking at the things that I like in a trailer, and just go in hoping that the movie's good, because they keep producing really good trailers for movies that turn out to be not good.
What about Dan? Director Tim Miller, who stood in this studio off camera and looked in your face and said, this movie's going to be cool.
I hope he's right.
Okay.
It was pretty early in the process.
It was very early in the process.
If we know one thing about our buddy Tim, it's that he can deliver a hell of a bridge sequence.
Yeah.
I do love a bridge sequence.
And we got bridge sequence in this.
It does seem like they're on an overpass, if not an actual bridge.
Yeah, I want to believe. He's got me, but like I've been burned. I want new boyfriend to treat us well, but some previous boyfriends have really burned us.
Well, speaking of another previous boyfriend, Arnold is also back in this, as we can see. I'm nailing these, you guys.
Always.
So Arnold is back. He is an older Arnold. Immediately, the Twitter just said it was Logan. That was the first reactions I saw from anyone.
I got some Logan vibes. They seem to be protecting the Latina child across the desert with an older version of a beloved character.
Two older versions of a beloved character.
Yes,
double Logan.
Double Logan.
Doing the rare double Logan. Directed by someone with experience in the X universe. So yeah, I think those are apt. But you know what? Logan gets a lot of crap from people at this table. Maybe some people who like Logan go overboard. Maybe it's the only movie they've seen. That's fine.
It is the only movie I've seen.
It's still a good movie, and if you shoot for something, shoot for Logan.
Yeah.
I'm not upset with shooting for Logan.
If you ever teach at a university, like film studies, or you're a guest speaker, I think that's your. If you're gonna shoot for something, shoot for Logan. TED Talk.
Double Logan, half the results. Still not as bad as Terminator Genesis.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, as I was looking through it, if we, JT, I don't know if we can show them. There was like 5 logos at the beginning of the trailer, and one of them was Fox.
Okay.
Which, does that mean that Disney owns like 1/5 of the Terminator? Does Disney own like a four? Is it Paramount? Yes, we know, right? Skydance, yes, we know that one. 26. So does Disney own like the Terminators are and Tencent? That's China.
Yep,
true. Does Disney own like? Can Disney distribute legally like?
They're distributing it internationally.
Okay, so does Disney have the right to internationally distribute like Robert Patrick? How does this work contract-wise?
Will Thor fight the Terminator?
A lot of it.
Where is Robert Patrick?
A lot of it just depends on weird deals in terms of like if Paramount's got a stronger presence, say in Latin America, then other studios will just go, okay. You handle this on our behalf, and it's a better deal for all of us if you guys handle this in this territory because you have a stronger relationship with distributors, or not distributors, with theater chains in that location, blah, 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 stuff like that. But so, yeah, possibly if it behooves Paramount for Disney to handle distributing Robert overseas, then yeah.
I guess I just had no idea that they were mixed up in this at all.
Yeah, me neither. And then the Paramount, they were the first logo, right? Like this is mostly a Paramount.
Yeah. I just didn't realize that Disney had even a little part of their finger in them.
Until this succeeds, Paramount's going to just keep making Terminator movies because they don't have a franchise right now at the whole studio. They've got Mission Impossible, which, Tom's legs ain't getting any younger.
They haven't replaced Tom yet.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
On the horizon. And his legs ain't getting any
bigger,
smaller. Yeah.
Actually, I think his legs are getting smaller.
Yeah, they're going to get tiny.
Getting fixed.
They have a decision to make with like the Bumblebee versus Michael Bay future of Transformers and what that's going to be. But otherwise, like, they got to make Terminator work, or they will be just Tencent Productions or somebody else's division.
Well, China is the reason that we're getting this movie in the first place, because the Chinese gross of Terminator Genesis was what saved that. It was DOA domestically, and then when it did really well in China, which is probably why you see Tencent as I've talked about Tencent on Charting before. Tencent is a big name in production over in China, and they obviously, because they have a production credit, are handling either full marketing, distribution stuff in China, or they're part of. I'd have to look up what their exact role is, but China's the entire reason this movie's getting made in the first place. So I'm very curious to see to what degree that, if any, affects its distribution, its performance. Is it more important that it does well in China than it does here? That's very possible.
Yeah.
For the Terminator franchise is weird. It's very odd at this point. It's in a weird place.
Yeah. But, we've still got our Arnie. He might be a robot. We don't know.
He might be the Southern guy from
Colonel Candy or whatever.
Colonel Candy!
I'm Sergeant Candy!
Look up that deleted scene from Terminator 3.
There are weird elements, I feel, of all the bad ones in this one, to the point where I'm like, did they sit in a writer's room and go, we have to fix it? Like, are they just taking the cool things from the failed movies and they're like, we got something to prove?
I mean, they're very clearly ignoring everything post Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Cameron gets the story credit, so he's somewhat involved, other than telling a story. Like Terminator Genesis is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got...
That is the story.
That's the story.
That's a story.
When I say a story, I mean the Southern colloquialism, meaning a lie. You told me a story, James Cameron, and that story was that Terminator Genesis was going to be good.
That could be cool. We've got that humanoid Cylon hybrid. That could be a great story.
Which is what I'm sort of talking about with story threads, because that's from Salvation.
Yep.
They did that in Salvation. Old Arnold with the beard in the cabin was in Genesis. So yeah, they got something to prove. It's a redemption tour.
I would love nothing more than another great Terminator movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I so would love another great Terminator movie. That would be incredible. I want it to happen. I hope it happens. I'm going to be watching this with my fingers crossed that it happens.
Maybe
but
like
it's-
right in front of your face. Do one of these.
I've been burned too
We
many
went
times.
to a preview of Genesis. I'm gonna wait for this one to come out. Even if I get to see it early, I just want somebody else to take the first wave because I can't do it again.
know.
I'm just gonna throw bodies
You know
at
what?
it.
That was I almost walked out of Terminator Genesis, but it was free and like I didn't have a ride, so I would have under normal circumstances that would have been like the second movie I walked out of. The first being Ladybugs.
with Rodney Dangerfield and Jonathan
the
Brandis?
first and only being Ladybugs. Yeah.
Why?
I was just like, I was a kid and I was bored. I didn't like it anymore.
I liked Ladybugs when I was a kid.
I guess I should give it another chance.
I wouldn't.
I was.
That movie is packed to
You
the
know what?
gills with nopes.
I'll take the hit on this one. I feel like if anyone can take a Terminator script and the moment someone's like, here's all the lore, like a guy who can say, no, these are action movies, it's Tim Miller. I feel like that's a guy who's like, people like Terminator because LA River Chase scene and like those iconic sequences, and so...
People like the Terminator because it had good characters too.
Yeah.
Like Terminator 2 is good because it has amazing action, and you actually care about John Connor and the Terminator.
Yes.
They build up that bond. You care about Sarah Connor, and Linda
first
Hamilton
one
is
you-
so incredible in that movie. I think she should. Well, whatever. If Sigourney Weaver got nominated for Aliens, I think Linda Hamilton should have been at least in the conversation for Terminator 2 because she's so good in that movie. It's because it's about character. It's not about airplanes running into each other, and it's not about 18 liquid metal Terminators. It's about one unstoppable killing machine versus another unstoppable killing machine. But one of them is Pinocchio, and that's it. It's a cat and mouse again. That's why it's great. It's not spectacle. It's the fact that they actually focused in on these people.
Yeah, it's robots giving thumbs up. That's what we
Yes.
like about Terminator.
But I feel like Deadpool gave us enough, like, with the minimalism, not with the minimalistic approach that it was able to take with, okay, here's our action scenes, and just doing a lot with a little character-wise with like Negasonic and Colossus, all those cool character beats and fun stuff in that movie. I feel like he can deliver. Again, I'm just trying to talk myself into a new relationship with new boyfriend.
You know,
This is probably gonna hurt. I don't know.
well, something that you're not going to have to talk yourself into is John Wick 3, which I'm hearing, I still have not gotten a chance to see it. I'm hearing nothing but good things about it. But John Wick 3 has beat Avengers Endgame for the #1 spot at the box office last weekend. I got to bring up some charts when I'm next to Dan. That's just how it works. So, has everyone here gotten a chance to see 3 yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, and we're not going to spoil,
Negative.
don't worry, but we do want to talk about what makes...
Hold on. You can't really spoil a John Wick movie.
I know, but you have to reassure
I
the
know
people,
that there will
Spencer.
be cool sequences. I know that there will be coins.
Yeah, first he's like, and then you're like, there's a dog, it's great.
Yeah, and as soon as we spoil it, my ads are going to explode. But so those are some of the great things about the John Wick trilogy. What are some other things about it that you like? What do you think makes it work?
No,
Keanu.
yeah, Keanu.
Keanu.
I haven't seen 3 yet, but something that I love about 1 and 2 together are that they're, instead of just doing 1 but bigger and crazier, like I think a lot of people would do, I think 2 feels different. The action feels different. The approach they took is different. It's not just all fast-paced gun fu. It hits a little harder. The emphasis was on a lot of different fighting styles and action styles, but it still feels like a John Wick movie. It still feels like a John Wick sequel, even though the DNA is there, but the creature they created was incredibly, I think, distinct and different. And that's what I really like about the franchise, is that Leach is just able to continue to sort of zig and zag and show us different stuff, but it all still feels like John Wick.
Yeah, I like all the stuff that Spencer said about the bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Well, and
Spoilers, hello.
Whoa!
I gotta be careful. You have to. I'm being polite to the people, Spenny. They might not want to know that at some point there's a dog. I don't know.
Several. Oh, spoiler, sorry.
no.
You've seen it in the trailer.
A whole tidal wave of dogs. There's a man made of dogs.
Yeah,
What do you need, Mr. Wick?
Dogs. Lots of dogs. I want the sommelier to have a dog room.
Yeah. Okay, I won't spoil it.
Okay,
The
sorry.
thing I mean, do and don't like about these movies, which is like, I could try to spoil John Wick 2 and 3 for you, but when they really start getting into the lore of the John Wickiverse, I feel that a little goes a long way. The movies feel differently. They feel like there's so much bureaucracy, and like the org chart of the world of assassins is there's a lot of levels to this, and they only expand in John Wick 3.
You don't like movies about management when it comes to your gun movies?
Well, I do and I don't, because I thought that the first one was so awesome because like it let you kind of fill in the blanks or ask questions, because like they would like, oh, that he didn't pay with a credit card, he put some weird coin on the table.
What's that?
And
that's all I need.
Is.
Yeah, I think
You know, now I think we know everything, but also nothing after John Wick 3. But I don't care. I still think they've created an amazing world and an amazing feel of this like New York and other cities where like you just scratch the surface and there's this whole underground assassin and contract ring going on underneath it. But what really sets it apart, I think, action-wise, and this is why Keanu is such a national treasure, and Tom Cruise and stuff like that, is because like he's willing to put in the work. He's actually doing it. There are so many movies that do the John Wick thing in the sense of like he's a super assassin or she or whatever, but you watch it and it's on purpose obfuscated and cut so crazily because like it's the person can't do it or they weren't willing to. Like, I have a soft spot for Christian Bale and Equilibrium. I think we all do. He's basically John Wick, like an emotionless, like gun fu specialist. You go back and rewatch that, and it's like cut, because you know that he's moving at 0.2 miles an hour, just like trying to get the things right, and otherwise it'd just be a whalesman spinning around in circles. Welshman? I don't know.
Welshman,
what are people from?
Welshman.
A whalesman. I'll go with whale.
A whaler.
But yeah, Keanu and the directors and their stunt crew are willing to put in the work, and Keanu like learned how to kill or whatever. You've seen him at the gun range, and he does a lot of great reloads in this one. You don't think about reloading in action movies, but this movie makes a meal of it, and it shows. Like it tricks the eye, or rather doesn't trick the eye. Your eye is like, wow, that's real, because it is. That's why it's so great.
The Keanu of it all too, I think, it's very because for particularly people our age and older, like we have followed Keanu through just like he's introduced as this. Because really of Ted, he's introduced as this, let's be frank, idiot. Not him himself, but he plays idiots on screen. Even Johnny Utah, FBI agent, he's just kind of like surfer dude, whatever, man. And then Keanu, at least publicly, he tries to expand his range, and largely because the perception of him was as an idiot kind of falls on his face a couple times. Dracula, people ridicule him, and maybe that wasn't the best fit for him, but you still like him. It's not like you have no reason not to like him. And he's going through he hits speed, which is great. You're like, yeah, Keanu. And then The Matrix, which is great, but then the Matrix sequels aren't that great, so it's like a mixed blessing. But this is like, it's the commitment, first of all. Like, you can tell, like, how effing committed this guy is, like, to the acting part of it, to the physicality, to the fight routine, to making sure that you can film these things in wide angles, non-shaky, not a lot of cuts. It's like, it's not just that I'm rooting for John Wick. It's like, I love Keanu.
Aww.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for Keanu. I'm like, yeah, Keanu, kick his ass, man. You deserve this role. You deserve to look like a badass. You deserve to watch people watching you be a badass, because you've been through hell and back.
Yeah.
You deserve to hit that man in the face.
This role.
I think that's a good point.
I think it's kicking people's ass.
I think it's a rare thing when you have a performer like that, where you love them on camera, but you've also like loved their whole story and you genuinely root for them. Because you mentioned Cruise, obviously, like putting in the work, but even there's so much baggage with like liking Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
There's a cruise ship's worth of baggage, but not so with Keanu Reeves, man. I think you're both totally right. Like he's put in the work, and he's also just a guy who you're like, it feels good when you see Keanu Reeves win. Like, we freak out when a picture's taken of him like contemplating a sandwich on a bench. Like he's
we do.
Everything about him's perfect.
Rooting for Tom Cruise is fun, but it's like rooting for like Google.
Yeah. He's already won.
He's already won.
He's a winner.
He doesn't need to do anything. He's Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
But whatever. Like rooting for John Wick is like rooting for some like upstart tech company that is like taking market share away from Google, and you're like, hell yeah, Keanu Reeves.
It's almost
Get him, Ask Reeves.
It's
Ask Reeves.
I like Mission Impossible, but it's greedy of Tom Cruise to still be famous. Like he needs to step
4
aside.
decades.
He's 4 decades: the '80s, the '90s, 2000s, whatever this is,
And about to go into his 5th in the 2020s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like those like bands that like the Eagles are still touring or Rolling Stones. It's like stop, just let somebody else play some songs.
Yeah, just rest and produce now.
You have all the money. Go away.
It's not to take anything away from him. It's
No.
great.
We'll always
but-
have the good times.
Of which there are 20 plus movies.
Yeah.
So, obviously, John Wick is an amazing action franchise. I want to talk a little bit about some of the other great action franchises right now. There are so many that are coming out. What are some of your favorites? What are you digging right now?
Of all time, or
Or
current.
Current right now.
Kind of current.
Looking forward to 25 years from now when a sequel to Mad Max Fury Road finally comes out.
Yeah.
That's the best action movie. I was going to say of the decade, but the Raid movies are really good too.
They are real
Yeah.
good.
It's one of
Yeah.
my favorite movies of this decade. I love Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I'll go with the Raid, and then everything the sort of Raid team.
The Raidiverse.
Yeah, the Raidiverse.
Yeah.
Everything that team sort of, because we've harped about The Night Comes for Us a lot.
Yep.
On this show, that's an amazing one. Yeah, Gareth Edwards did really, really cool stuff with those guys. He's also done like some really cool shorts in his board spare time, like post Rogue One. He did like a really cool samurai short that you should check out and watch. That was, I think he just like dropped it on YouTube one day. He was like, "Yeah, this was fun."
I think because I wrote it down, I think Evans is the Gareth.
Evans.
I get
Sorry,
my
what did I-
Gareths mixed up.
Did I say Gareth
Edwards.
Keenan?
Gareth Edwards.
Edwards.
Okay.
Gareth
Gareth
Edwards.
Sorry.
It's really unfair of both of them. One of them needs to change their name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
now
If
it's
Tom
Very
Cruise has to
unfair
step
for them both to be
aside.
making
But now
it.
there is also a world in my head where Gareth Keenan from the BBC Office is an acclaimed action director.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we know that I was going to say Dwight, but hang on, I have to switch into my British brain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Will there ever be a boy who swims as fast as a shark?
Yeah. Gareth was quite an action star in his own right.
Yeah, he
That's
really
true,
was.
yeah.
He really
He got
was.
to be in-
Softly kill a monkey. I could
Yes.
kill a monkey.
Yeah, I've talked about before how much I love the Fast and Furious. I'm really looking forward to Hobbs and Shaw. I think for me, I love my action with the heart, like Terminator 2. That is one of my favorite action movies of all time. But lately, I am really, really getting into the action that's just a bunch of stuff. I liked the plane on a plane. Give me planes
Give me
on
planes on planes on
it's
planes.
so dumb. I want it. Give it directly to me. I think that was hard because it's the movie with heart, and then a plane on a plane. I think I want either or.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm trying to think of something that blends the two elegantly, and I don't think
True Lies.
it. That was ridiculous. True Lies was ridiculous. He
Yeah.
shoots a guy like through the shirt with a missile,
But also,
and it like drags him into a crane. How
he
does that movie-
reconnected with his wife.
Well,
And
character
yes,
stuff,
yeah.
sure, but like, I think, yeah, but like, yeah, in terms of like, you got to do either or. Like,
Yeah.
Mission Impossible is its own style versus like the Raid guys,
Yeah.
where you're down and dirty and you're in the muck and you like actually feel the punches. Like, I'm trying to think of something that
Does a good job.
does a
it's
good
not-
job blending the
I've
two.
argued this many times, but Mad Max Fury Road, those characters have very succinct and defined and clearly thought out arcs.
Oh, they
and everyone
absolutely
says
do.
that I'm stupid, and it's just about people driving around in the desert. But
I don't think we're talking-
disagree.
Those people are dumb.
But Dan, we're not talking about integrating character with action. We're talking about the two like types of action we're drawn to is like the realism type,
Yeah.
or the exaggerated realism of like John Wick and something like that, and then like
Can't fight the friction.
Triple X 3 or 4 where you know he's surfing somehow a tree and he's like banging guys' heads into coconuts while doing a backflip. Like sometimes that's fun too.
Man, theater school Danielle never knew that she was going to be so into stuff that's so extreme. Everything now is Triple X, and I love it.
I do like. I think one of the great introductions to a film is XXX when Sam Jackson recruits international soccer star Neymar, who then stops a cafe robbery by corner kicking napkin holders into the heads of robbers, and then they all explode.
Yeah, then they all explode.
Spoilers.
That's amazing.
That's literally the first 5 minutes of the movie.
I think Neville Dean and Taylor, the Crank guys. Those guys are bonkers. Like, those guys are the dudes that are still like, what if we tie a skateboard to a car and I get on the skateboard with my camera and that's how we'll get that shot, and one of us will die, but it'll look rad. Like, the Crank movies are insane, but those guys are the new Raimi to me, where Raimi went into the woods with $20 and a branch and some duct tape and changed horror. Like, I think those guys, Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance, not a good movie, but an insane movie.
What's your favorite sequence from that?
Oh, definitely when he pees fire and then turns a giant crane into a Ghost Rider bike.
That's pretty great. So, just going out from that, anything from any movie ever, what are some of your favorite action scenes? For me, one of my favorites is in, I believe it's Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, where you have Koba on
a horse
going through fire with 2 machine guns, and he's leaping through fire. It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
All right, it's a strong moment.
Sorry to any significant others that I've ever had that might be watching this. The Koba 2 guns.
Koba Fire is your real man?
He's my real boyfriend now. What about you, Dan?
The Bourne movies, I think, particularly the second and the third one, for American action, brought in a new era that was used for both good and evil. It allowed Liam Neeson to climb a fence with its quick cuts and shaky camera work, but it also delivered a lot of knockoff shaky cam horror action movies that were just not as good. But I love the scene in the first one that Doug Liman did in the apartment, where he's the guy that crashes through the window, or he's fighting with a pen and I just remember watching that. I was like, wow, because that was sort of merging John Woo had sort of brought the kind of Asian fighting style to his movies in America, but that was the first time I saw a U.S. production saying all right, we're gonna do this kind of hybrid of traditional fighting, but the rapid pace and the kind of mixed. Not MMA in the sense of he wasn't choking anybody out, although I'm sure he did at some point. But this idea of just it's not completely fighting like you would see in a John Woo movie or in old kung fu movies, but it's also not just hand-to-hand combat. It's this weird kind of just improvisational feeling. The first Bourne Identity was one of the first movies that I remember. I'm sure there were others that I remember seeing that and I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. I love that. Oh, he used a pen, he used a book, and then it feels magazines and everything else.
Yeah.
It feels less like they choreographed something and more like they're like, Matt, this guy's going to attack you and you need to survive.
You have to stop him. You have to whatever you need to do, just do it. I love that style. It's John Wick and the Raid movies and all of the other ones. This really, the 21st century has sort of taken that and run with it. But I like the Bourne movies. I think there's some really great sequences.
I think Atomic Blonde deserves a revisit from a lot of people.
Yeah.
I feel like when it came out, people went, "You're not Jane Wick," and dismissed it. That was the review it got from a lot of folks, where they wanted a gun fu thing, and that's not what they got. I think the stairwell sequence in that movie is great, and I think Charlize deserves some credit too for that sort of putting in the work idea, because I feel like she really did, and that the stunt team around her was pretty fantastic as well. Takashi Miike, 13 Assassins. That's as close to a.
You got a JT nod right there.
JT actually just owned. From in the booth, you just heard him go. I mean, that's as close to a contemporary Seven Samurai as you're gonna get, where in terms of that melding of action sequences and characters that you care about. It's really phenomenal.
Well, Dan mentioned John Woo. I'll go full Woo. Where they're getting out of the hospital in Hard Boiled. That is just two guys with some guns and 30 extras just popping out and then getting shot and then flying backwards. But there's they still are telling a story while they're doing it, because even though it's an action story, it's one guy gets wounded and so he's slowing down and then they accidentally kill a cop during it, and then they're sharing details about like, you need to keep going, or did you ever kill a cop like by accident? Yes, and it was worse than this time, and like they're doing this all while an action scene is happening, and it's all in one long take and then a few quick takes at the end. And it does something that I think is John Wick 3 does it too, where there's like a crazy action scene going on, and then there's like a natural reason to completely pause and stop it in the middle, like a moment where they're catching their breath, where in this case they're on an elevator, and like they're able to like be like, what the hell is going on, and like have a conversation, move the plot forward a little bit, and then like ding, and then the scene just keeps going and going and going. I think that pacing is such a huge part of action for me. The other one I was actually thinking of is I wonder if sports movies count, because I think that Creed has some of the best action scenes. Also, I know single take, it's kind of like, is it a gimmick? I don't know. I like it. Of just shooting a fight that way from that over the shoulder fight for Creed is one of my favorites.
Yeah, and speaking of elevators, the elevator fight in Captain America is obviously great in Civil War. Someone put on YouTube, and they did it as a joke, but it actually wound up being really awesome. They took that song Old Town Road and cut it so that it syncs up with a bunch of different Captain America fights. It doesn't feel like it's going to work, but it actually works as like a really interesting retrospective on Captain America. No, it's beautifully edited. I can't. It sounds so dumb. It is gorgeously edited.
Is Old Town Road going to be the next slowed down pop song for a trailer?
Yes.
Gonna take my horse to Old Town Road.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
I want it
into
to.
existence.
I really want it to.
All right, so you guys go check out that, legitimately check that video out because it's very good. As you know, we are Fandom Entertainment. Please like and subscribe. Hit that bell.
Ryan.
There it is.
You put it in the notes, Ryan.
I'm chatting.
It did have a question mark. It says hold for ding.
Ryan. So we've got some great stuff up on fandom.com. We've got a great piece called Game of Thrones, The Unsullied's New Home is probably a big mistake by
They're all
Donna
dead.
Dickens.
Yeah. Poison butterflies.
There's some interesting book stuff. Go check that out. We've also got Game of Thrones Characters We Never Saw Again by Matt Fowler. Both of those have the link in the description, so go ahead and give that a look-see.
It's just gifs of Mira over and over and over and over and over again.
Aww. So next we want to talk about, there's a new trailer for Anna that's the new thing by Luc Besson, who made Lucy, The Fifth Element, Taken, Nikita. I think it's very kind that Ryan put in Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. We all got a chance to check this trailer out as well.
It's a spectacle. It wasn't a terrible film, Valerian.
It was.
Yeah,
I liked it. I thought, but
I think if you go back, I might have actually recommended it. I might not do that now, but fresh off of it, I was just like, it's crazy, and you should see how nuts it is.
the Rihanna scenes are
insane.
very, very crazy and gorgeous. What did we think of the Anna trailer?
I feel like he took Lucy and was like, I need to fix this, and I need to go a little more the professional with the Lucy idea. I mean, this sequence is awesome. I just, he's gotten so hit and miss lately that I just don't know. Like, I think this restaurant sequence was rad, but I don't know. We'll see. There's some neat sequences in Lucy too, but
Well, Lucy didn't kill anybody with a plate. So.
yeah.
I was so excited for Lucy. I really was. It looked so cool, and that, oh my god.
Did you not like the existential crisis of
That
Lucy?
was a bad movie. It's
a big hit.
Was just,
Weirdly.
it was a big hit. It was a very big
Was
hit.
it?
But
Yeah.
huge. Internationally, it was a massive hit. But by the end of it, it's just like, what is this? So yeah, I'm the same
It's French,
way.
Dan.
It's like,
Just let it happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
It looks cool, but he is way too scattershot for me to be like,
Yeah.
to invest. It's kind of like Terminator. I just cannot invest any goodwill in it until I, see it.
you know, he's the Black Widow guy. Like, this guy's been making Black
Yeah.
Widow movies for a long time, and here's a new Black Widow movie by Luc Besson. So we'll see.
We'll see. And reportedly, it has a $30 million budget. So is this more of the mid-budget action scenes movies that people are hoping don't die out? Do you think we're just going to start to get more of these? Like I said, there's a lot of lady action things that have been happening.
I don't know. It's like, because, you guys were shocked when when I said it was a hit. Like, these kind of movies aren't very successful anymore. Like, the kind of mid-budget action movies. I don't think Atomic Blonde did very well.
No.
I don't think
No.
people are really interested in making them because it seems like a little bit of a relic at this point. Like, John Wick has kind of infused energy into the genre, but, like, super badass celebrity with guns mows their way through goons. Like, I don't know. It just seems like you got to do something different or something more than that these days. And isn't there another one called Hana right now? I'm getting lost with my badass female assassin movies.
Well, part
made
of
a show of
too
it.
is a lot of people get caught up in the aesthetics of it because, like, I'll agree with Atomic Blonde. Like, the action is fantastic. There's a great sequence with Charlize Theron that is where, again, it's sort of like what you were talking about, where they take a breath and it's an actual realistic fight where they're just tired by the end of it and just stopping, and it's a wonderful action sequence. But the movie, it didn't make a bit of GD sense. Like, by the end of it, like, it made like, there was a twist, but the twist completely didn't jive with anything that came before it. Like, the movie itself was a bit of a mess, and so I wouldn't lay Atomic Blonde underperforming solely at the feet of the genre. But I think that is a recurrent theme with the genre, where there's a lot of directors and writers who get so wrapped up in the fights that they don't give they pay no attention to the rest of the movie, and it just it feels lackluster or underwhelming, or if it's just the fights and people are like, I've seen it before. So I think what you really need are creatives that will invest as much into the story as they will into the fighting, and I think that's one of the reasons why John Wick has worked so well.
Well, so who do you think of kind of the crop of creators that are coming on would be able to accomplish that? Who do you think is going to push the genre forward? What do you see as the future of these action movies?
That's a good question.
It's on the paper.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Bad Batch? Anna Lily Amapour, who did A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, the vampire movie, did it, and it's sort of a weird post-apocalyptic like action thriller, and that had a lot of really cool DNA in it. I think it checks a lot of the thumbs up boxes that we've been talking about on the show today. That one's worth watching. I think a point Spencer makes a lot about sort of what's happening to a lot of cool genre stuff is that it's going to streaming and it's going to television. And for action, especially, I think that's really interesting because traditionally, if action does not go to the big screen, it's terrible. Or the reputation is that it is bad. Like, straight to blockbuster action movies, like, you treat that as a joke. Like, why would you even make those? So, like, I think it's going to be an interesting time for action where you have this, like, merging of people who a couple years ago we would have considered, like, big screen, like, real filmmakers, and then straight to DVD guys like John Hamm, who has... I didn't think I'd come on a show today to tell you guys that you should watch the direct-to-DVD sequels to Universal Soldier, but here we are.
Okay, bring me in. Sell it to me. Give it to me.
He's awesome. He's like almost like an art house action director. Like if David Fincher wanted to make a no-budget Dolph Lundgren movie, like that's Hamm. And I think you're going to have him mixing with guys like the Raid team and stuff like that on streaming services, doing some really cool stuff.
Sorry, I'm going to be rude and look something up
Do it.
because there was a director I wanted to recommend and I cannot remember.
I've got a couple.
Yeah.
I'm going to botch the pronunciation. Jeremy Saulnier?
Yes, Saulnier.
If he ever wants to go Hollywood, he's made Blue Ruin and Green Room and a couple other films that are really like the most intense experiences you can have without CGI and cocaine. It's he's just so good at grounded action and bringing like a sense of realism to what's going on, but still having a kind of crazy scenario. Then the other one, I don't know his name, and I know he probably has, like, given his movie choices and like stuff going under the surface, he probably has like some of the most atrocious politics in the world, but whoever the guy is that made Brawl in Cell Block 99 and then that Mel Gibson or that other Vince Vaughn cop movie where they're like killing people. Dragged Across Concrete.
Thank you, JT.
Yeah. But man, S. Craig Zoller? Yeah. Brawl in Cell Block 99 was like one of the most fun grindhouse movies I've ever seen. It's like you forget that Vince Vaughn is actually like a monster because he's like 6'5".
Yeah.
And
That's a big deal.
They had him like work out a lot for this one, and he just
Got big and brolic.
the movie opens with like someone does his wife and like takes his job and like screws him over. And you know the Street Fighter 2 bonus level where you have to destroy a car?
My favorite thing in the world. Yes.
He just does that to his car with
No.
his fists. He punches a car to death with his bare hands.
We call it a Vince Vaughn lemonade.
Yeah, but he's very calm on the surface, and then he goes to like a series of progressively worse and worse prisons. Like they keep throwing him in like deeper and deeper holes because they're trying to like get him killed on the inside, but no one can because his mitts are so tough.
He's a beast.
Yeah, it was just a great action movie. I don't know. This guy is clearly a psychopath.
There was a movie that came out last year that did not do well. It's called The Spy Who Dumped Me, with Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon,
Oh yeah, that looked really.
which was marketed as a comedy, and it was an okay comedy. I actually enjoyed the movie, but it was a damn good action movie. And the director, whose name is Susanna Fogel, deserves a shot at a big franchise or to develop her own if she's interested in an action franchise. But like I was watching the movie and I'd never heard of her before this film. I was watching the movie and the comedy was all right, but like the action was damn good. Like there was some it was shot well, it was choreographed well, it was inventive. I liked it. Like it was really well directed. And so Susanna Fogel, who did The Spy Who Dumped Me, I think should get a shot at whatever action franchise will have her or that she's interested in, because I think she can make a damn good action movie.
I've got two others to throw on the table.
Yeah, please do.
Warrior.
Warrior. I'm just guys. Have you seen Terrace House? Two directors. And with their stuff, you should check out. There's a director, Johnny To, who did two movies that I love. One's called 3, and one's called Drug War. It's a movie called Drug War. It's what you get. Like when you picture a guy named Johnny To directing a movie called Drug War, he just it's awesome. It's brutal.
I didn't picture anything in my head, so now I'm excited.
Just the dude knows where to put a camera. Like just his visuals and his style are just really, really cool. He's worth checking out. And the other one I noted did a movie called Elite Squad, which is about cartels and crime stuff in South America, and that's Jose Padilla. Really, really, really good action director. I've made a point the last 2 years to because I really like action stuff, and I feel like it's really easy to, when you sort of try to expand your boundaries on action, to just get stuck in Hong Kong and stay there. But like, there's some really, really cool stuff being made globally that's totally worth checking out. And that's, again, why I really kind of like the move to streaming for a lot of this stuff.
RoboCop.
Do what?
Did Jose Padilla do RoboCop?
I
thinking
don't
of someone
know.
else.
I don't know. I'll have to check.
I'm trying to remember.
The remake.
If
the
he
RoboCop
did,
remake.
forgive him. Because Elite Squad's great.
Yeah, who directed the RoboCop remake?
While he's looking that up, and speaking of franchises, are there any kind of big franchise movies that are coming up that anyone's looking forward to?
Jose Padilla.
He did do it?
Yeah.
Damn. You know what? Not
But
his
you know
fault.
what? That movie's not as terrible. It's not good.
You know
but
what?
it's not as terrible
Well,
as it
he
was a no-win
clearly
scenario.
made something good enough to get him that job.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gareth Evans
Exactly.
made The Raid. He also made Rogue One, which is
I like Rogue One. Wait.
I don't like Rogue One, and I don't think it speaks to The Raid and his ability as a filmmaker. Sometimes the fat cats in Hollywood get in a true
Wait, did
talent's
Gareth
way.
Evans or Gareth Edwards make Rogue One?
I'm so confused.
I think Gareth Edwards made Rogue One. Yeah. Gareth Edwards made
Okay.
Godzilla and Rogue One.
Which one did Gareth Keenan do?
I'm just doing it so they don't.
No, I appreciate it.
I don't want to.
Look, do your
watched
best to
Gareth
trunicate their
Evans.
contents for me, their comments for me, and I'm just saying, forgive Padilla for RoboCop, because no one could have made that movie good.
No, and it actually was not action-wise awful. It was more conceptually
Everything else.
a bad idea.
Yeah.
I like when the robot took its clothes off. It was just like lungs. That was cool.
That was neat.
It just like separated out
Yeah.
into lungs, and that actually was cool.
That
I
was
thought
really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so are there any ones that you're looking forward to? I'm definitely looking forward to the new Godzilla movie. I've already mentioned I'm looking forward to Hobbs and Shaw.
What are the Gareths doing next? All of them.
Is your name Gareth? What are you up to? Are you making a movie? Let us know.
Gareth, what you up to, man?
Gareths just look alike to me. I don't know.
You're very Garethist.
Yeah.
I am a little Garethist.
I think just Hobbs and Shaw, really. Just, I mean, that's even though I feel like I saw the whole movie in the trailer,
You sure
I
did.
liked what I saw, and I will watch it in expanded feature-length form.
The trailer felt like a movie.
Yeah.
It's like 8 minutes long.
It had act structure and twists, and you
I went to the bathroom in the middle of it.
Yeah, you thought your heroes were down and out, and then they're rescued by Samoan weapons. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, there's a lot of ooh-eyeing.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Which most films should have.
Yeah. It's more Roman Reigns, man.
I think Shang-Chi is cool. I think Marvel has an opportunity to do a really... I'm curious to see, especially after a recent Winter Soldier rewatch, which is also a great action movie. The boat sequence at the beginning of Winter Soldier is awesome, and not to say that obviously they're not doing Shang-Chi, but Marvel has proven that they can break out of the mold enough to do some really cool genre stuff. So I'm rooting for whoever's involved in that.
Hell yeah.
I'm so like whatever's in front of my face in movies. Generally, it's like, what do I see this week?
I mean, you're going to see all of them, so.
It's nothing springs to mind, but there's always I like the surprise ones, the ones that I'm not expecting, and then you're like, oh wow, that's awesome. It's always nice to be surprised and find a little gem that you didn't expect to see. So.
I like a surprise too. If you guys have any ideas about any upcoming directors, people that you think would be able to handle the future of action movies, leave those down below. We do want to hear those. Any movies you're looking forward to. So Fan Friday is tomorrow. Make sure you check the community tab, post your question, vote the ones you want to hear, and the team will answer them. We've also got movie fights later today, so come check that out, and we will see you later. Bye.